Once you've gone through the steps and have a Tiki mask that is something you're happy with, you know which one you're doing, you're going to get a piece of paper that's cut in a very specific size. So you need this particular paper. You're going to transfer your design over, and then once that's finished, you're going to tape it to a piece of foam paper or foam board. Now, we can't write with pencil on this, so on the back, instead of using a pencil, we're using a Sharpie. It should be the thick points because they're very soft and they won't squish the foam in. So just write your name on the back, and then you're going to tape the Tiki mask drawing to the piece of foam. When you tear masking tape, remember to tear it like a piece of paper. You don't pull to tear masking tape because it doesn't tear like that. It tears like paper does. So you pinch both sides with your thumbs, pull one hand towards you while the other one pulls away, and you'll get it. It comes off very easily. Tape it as close as possible to match the sides, and if you think that it might be still a little too loose for you, you could add another piece of tape at the bottom. It'll just be harder to check your lines later. I usually only do one. Alright, once the top is taped, then you're going to also need to get a ballpoint pen. There's a whole bin of them up front. They don't need to work. All we care about is this round tip to the pen. We're using this to press lines into the foam. It doesn't have to actually write. They can be dry, they can work, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that you trace every line on your paper. Now my pen does work, so I can keep track of where I've traced, but again, it doesn't really have to work. It can be dry. It will still make lines. Now, I should have started at the top. You might be able to see the paper's wrinkling a bit, which can mess up my design. So you really should start with the top lines first. I'm just tracing right on top of the tape too. I'm going to check as I trace to make sure that my lines are going through and I'm pushing hard enough. Now I actually want these circles to be white, so I need to color them in so they'll stand out on the mask. If I don't color them in, it will just be a line. Anywhere you color will remain white. Now after looking at my mask, I'll make sure I can see it. Notice that it looks a little plain right here, and I kind of want to add something. But if I do it with the pen and I don't like it, I'll regret it. So I'm actually just going to pull the paper back. Yeah, I just need to fill this space in. It was too plain. That looks much better. And I kind of also want to put a second circle in there. Now this looks a little more interesting. So if you have edits to make, do what I did and just flip the paper over. And then again, you need to make sure you match the paper back up. Before you trace the design. Now there were times when my pen stopped working. I don't have to get a new pen and retrace it because again, it doesn't really matter if it works or not. We're looking for pressing lines in. Once you've traced, you're going to retrace without the paper. You could even pull the paper off at this point because you're not going to need it again. Just be very careful not to pull too hard or you're going to rip your phone. So just do it slowly. And this can go home with you or in the recycling bin. Sometimes it will rip because the paper is thin and the pen can rip through it. It's not a big deal because we're not using it. This was just to transfer. So don't think it's ruined if it rips. Now again, my pen does not have to work to push the lines in deeper. This one does. But it still won't mess up my print. I'm just pushing down a little bit harder so I can really feel the bump. Right now I can sort of feel my lines, but they're very faint and they won't show up on a print. I need the lines to be deeper. Once you've finished tracing with the pen, return the pen to the red box in the front of the classroom. Check with your fingertips to make sure that all of your lines are deep enough so that your print will show up. If the ink smears anywhere, it's not a big deal because the ink won't show up later. Check that your name is on the back and make sure your printing plate goes in your portfolio for next class.